speed control of induction motor. So the speed control of DC motor will always be superior to that of the induction motor, okay, but even in induction motor also it is still possible to control speed. So what is the expression of speed? N is equal to 1 minus S times the synchronous speed. So if we have to control the speed, then what are the two parameters available to us? We can control the slip or we can control the synchronous speed. Now synchronous speed in turn, it is dependent on what? The frequency and the number of poles. The number of poles are produced by the stator winding only. Okay, so that means if you want to control the synchronous speed, you can control either the frequency or the number of poles. Now the frequency control is not done usually because the system frequency is usually at 50 Hertz only. Okay, so it is not practical to change the frequency. So you can write down change of frequency is one method. This is not preferable because the supply frequency is fixed. What is the other kind of change? You can change the number of poles. So this is possible, but it can only be done in pairs. That means if P is equal to 2 and you want to increase the number of poles, then it can only be increased to 4. 3 cannot be done in between. Okay. So from P is equal to 2 to directly you will get P is equal to 4. Then what will be the difference in the synchronous speed? That means if P is equal to 2, you are going to get Ns is equal to 3000 for 50 Hertz. And if P is equal to 4, then what will happen? Ns you will get as 1500 for 50 Hertz. Okay, so this is going to be a huge change. So that is why this method is also not preferred. But just for the sake of idea, how to change the number of poles? We will take an example for this. Let us take coils like this. We are going to take 4 number of coils. Okay. So now the supply is going to be this. Now for each of this 2 coils, we are going to give the connection like this, and the other end will now be connected to the negative polarity. Okay. Now for the other coils, we are going to reverse the connections. So that means this is going to be given the negative polarity, and these 2 coils once again you can connect in series. This will be connected to the positive polarity. So now what will happen? The current will flow like this. Now when the current is in the clockwise direction, and this is going to give you a south pole. Now similarly, this is going to give you a south pole. Okay. Now what about the current in this coil? Here the current is going to flow in this direction. Okay. So anti-clockwise north pole, and this also you are going to get north pole. So how many poles you are getting here? You are getting 4 number of poles. Now let us say we are reversing this terminals. So that means this will be connected to the positive polarity only, and this will be connected to negative polarity. So now this current directions are all going to change. This will be the new direction of current. Similarly like this. Okay. So now what will be the polarity that is produced here? Same south pole is going to be produced. Now this coil here, these 2 conductors, they are going to give you a anti-clockwise direction. So once again you are going to have a north pole here. There will be north pole in between these coils like this. Similarly between these 2 conductors, this is going in downward direction and this is coming in the upward direction. So this is a circle, right? So these both coils will be adjacent. So you are going to get another north pole here. Now here what will be the number of poles? This is going to be 8. Okay. So in this manner, when we rearrange the connections, we can change the number of poles. What was the other parameter that was available for speed control? We discussed about the synchronous speed. Another parameter is the slip. So if we control the speed using slip, then it is called as slip control. Okay. So one method, there are various methods here. So the very first method is the voltage control. by controlling the voltage, we can control the slip. So if you remember, the torque expression, we got it as 3 by omega s into s v square by r2 dash. This was approximated or approximate torque at normal operating condition. Because under normal operating condition, slip is very small, so R2 dash by S will be quite big as compared to the reactance. So in the torque expression, if you neglect the reactance term, you are going to get this expression. Also, what will be the current? I2 dash is going to be equal to the voltage, which is SV divided by R2 dash. So both of these relations are valid approximations at normal operating conditions where slip is very small. Now say V is the rated voltage. Now you can increase the voltage. Can you increase the voltage? It is not recommended, right? We should not operate the motor beyond the rated voltage. So we can only reduce the voltage from its rated value. So when voltage reduces for a constant torque, what will happen? The slip is going to increase. And if slip increases, then speed is going to reduce. So in that manner, for a constant load, if you decrease the voltage, then your speed will also decrease. Okay, so that is how you can do the speed control. But here there is a problem of overheating. So why is that? We will see. If you take an example, if at constant load torque, slip is to be doubled, then how much should we reduce the voltage by? We should reduce it by 1 by root 2 times. Voltage should be reduced by 1 by root 2 times, because 1 by root 2 whole square will become 1 by 2. So 2 times for a constant torque, slip will become 2 times of the original slip. Okay. Now when the voltage is reducing by root 2 times and the slip is being doubled, then what will happen to this current? The increase in slip is more than the reduction in the voltage. So overall the current is going to increase. Okay. This implies current will increase by how much times? Root 2 times. Okay. Therefore, overheating problem will be present when we are doing the voltage control. Okay. So this is one method. Another method is the rotor resistance control. So we are already familiar with it, right? Rotor resistance control. This can only be done for slip ring induction motors. So if you remember the torque slip characteristics, the torque slip characteristics we are going to use often, right? So it's better you just remember what are the torque slip characteristics. This is say for a particular resistance R2. Now if you are increasing the rotor resistance, okay, then what is going to happen? This is going to shift like this, the maximum, the peak. Okay, so this is for R2 dash, let us say, where R2 dash is greater than R2. Now for a particular operating torque, so that means this is torque and this is speed. Speed is increasing in this direction, slip is increasing in this direction, opposite direction. Okay. Now for a particular torque, say this is the operating load torque. Now if you are increasing the rotor resistance, what is happening to the speed? It is going to reduce. This was the initial speed. If you increase the resistance, then speed will fall and the slip will increase. So this is another method of speed control. As rotor resistance increases, the speed will fall for a particular load torque. Okay, but obviously since we are increasing the resistance here, it is going to result in more copper losses. So that is one of the disadvantages of this rotor resistance control. Now the next method that we have is an interesting method. It is the slip frequency EMF injection into the rotor circuit. So what is going to happen here? We know the rotor circuit, the actual rotor circuit, okay? Forget about the equivalent circuit and referring to the stator side. The actual equivalent circuit of the rotor only, it is going to be S times E, rotor resistance is R2 and the reactance is SX2. This is the rotor circuit, right? Now the current, rotor current flowing is I2. Now what is I2? This is approximately equal to S times the voltage divided by R2. Since at normal operation, slip is very small and so Sx2 can be ignored. Now what happens when we inject a slip frequency EMF? That means the frequency of the EMF is going to should be same as the frequency of this voltage source. So that point is important, right? Only then we can add the phasors. When the frequency is not same, then they both will have different phasors, okay? So this is Sx2. Now here we are injecting a voltage. Now what will be the current? Now current will be approximately equal to S times E minus Ej or plus Ej, depending on whether both of these are in phase or not. Okay, so this is the condition when Ej is in phase with the rotor frequency Se divided by R2. Okay. Now without the EMF injection, let us say the slip is S1, and with the EMF injection, let's say the new slip is S2. So the frequency of this source also should be S2 only. Now you may have a doubt here, why are we not writing S here? See, the magnitude of this voltage is not dependent on the slip. The magnitude of the rotor voltage is dependent on the slip, but this magnitude is not dependent on slip. Just that the frequency is the same as the frequency of this voltage. Okay, so that's why we are not writing S here. Okay, remember that, it's very important, otherwise it will lead to confusions. Okay, now what is going to happen? This current and this current are going to remain the same. Why is that? Because we are not changing the supply voltage. The whatever supply voltage we are going to give, that will give rise to the stator current, and stator current is going to give rise to the rotor current. Okay. Now this new injection EMF whatever we are having, that is not going to affect the rotor current, because that is not the result of the voltage that is there in the rotor circuit. It is the result of the stator current. Another way in which the rotor current can change is when there is a change in the torque. Okay. But we are considering constant torque here while doing the speed control. Okay. Rotor current, you can write this down. The rotor current will remain same as the flux in the machine and torque are the same. That means they are not changing. So that means we can equate both of these currents. This implies that S1E by R2 will be equal to S2 times E minus Ej by R2. So what is this going to give you? S2 is going to be S1 plus Ej by E. Okay. So this is the new value of the slip. So when we are injecting a voltage, there will be a change in the slip. So now if Ej is positive, then slip will increase, and what will happen to the speed? It will decrease. If Ej is negative, then slip will decrease and speed will increase. So this is how you are able to achieve the speed control. You can write down, if EJ is in phase with E. That is when we got this expression, right? If it is in phase with E, then slip will increase, meaning that speed will decrease. If EJ is in opposition phase, okay, in opposition to the rotor voltage SE, then slip will decrease, and this will in turn increase the speed. Okay, so in this way you can decrease the speed as well as increase the speed using the injection method.